The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to the wonderful world of wellness with Dr. Andy Mencia. This medical program heard from 7 to 7:30 each Saturday right here on WSBR 740 AM is brought to you by the Adult and Geriatric Center under the medical direction of geriatrician Dr. Andy Mencia. All right, well, here we are. Bright, shiny, wonderful morning. Good morning, Dr. Mencia. Who is this beautiful woman you have brought here?
This is
a showgirl?
Nicole Andres. She looks like a showgirl, doesn't she?
Thank you.
I only get the best of the best, I'm telling you.
Well, from a woman's point of view, I thought Dr. Coleman was pretty neat, too, last week.
In both sides, both sides.
To look at either.
Welcome, Nicole. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
I think for the last 3 programs, we have been speaking about Nicole. So finally, we get her to come to the show.
Yeah, you said you had now something you've added to your entire medical practice.
And this is such
it's a revelation, actually.
Yes, it's such a need for a dietitian to work with the doctor. And Nicole and I was like a match made in heaven. Because, you know, when we talk to the patient, Nicole, and we send them out there, we say, you know, you need to follow a diet. We give them some instructions. But let's tell the audience a little bit about your background.
Okay, great. Well, I've been a registered dietitian, nutritionist for about almost a decade now, and I've worked in a myriad of different settings, everywhere from the clinical setting in a hospital to wellness centers to spas to acupuncturist office to home health and addiction, eating disorders, and my own private practice. But I have to say the best so far has been partnering with you, because to be in a setting with a medical physician as well as how many people you have under the roof at the Adult and Geriatric Institute of Florida. It's amazing to have dentistry, to have psychologists, to have hormone specialists, because I really believe in the multidisciplinary approach to medicine. And I think that's where people really fall short, because when I was on my own, I could say, okay, go see this, doctor, get these labs drawn, or go see this psychologist, to work on this issue or that. And they would kind of get lost in the shuffle, but having everything under one roof is just so amazing. So it's so exciting. And I offer a program called First Line Therapy, and I've been doing this for the past 3 years, and I've seen tremendous results with dyslipidemia, diabetes, hypertension, obesity. And basically what it is it's called First Line Therapy, and it's a lifestyle medicine program. Basically, it's just amazing what happens. We do nutrition, we do diet, we do body composition testing, we do lifestyle, stress management, and exercise protocols, all in one program. So it's all inclusive.
And it's so beautiful when we see Nicole, when she sees the patient, is because, before you will send a patient out to see a dietitian, and you will never get a feedback of the dietitian. Here, Nicole will see the patient, and she will come and we talk together. Even if it's a client from the outside, so you do not have to be my patient to see Nicole. You can come from the outside and see Nicole, and you're still going to get the whole package indirectly, because then we can brainstorm on a given condition and how can we best approach that patient, help that patient as a team. So whatever the insurance is paying or the patient is paying out of pocket, whatever is coming in for you to see this beautiful, highly educated dietitian and nutritionist, you get it behind her, the whole package. So Dr. Coleman is there to help, I'm there to help, the dentist is there to help, because, nutrition starts with your mouth. If you have a problem with your mouth, then, of course, you're going to have a problem with digestion. So look at the holistic approach of any condition and any specialist that work with us.
Dr. Mencia, all this is fine, and I'm thrilled that you have this. But the one question, and I know people really have problems with, is motivation. So with all this expertise, how are you going to motivate the people to first come and then to first take the program and stay with it?
Well, motivation comes from both sides. It's a great question. Motivation is going to come from both sides. It's going to come sometimes from the patient. You start dating and now you get motivated and something will motivate you as a patient. In my book, I think the motivation should be initiated by your primary care doctor. It's the person who's supposed to know you the best. So I motivate my patients. A lot of time when I tell them about going and seeing Nicole, go and see my dietitian, say, do I need to? I really don't have to. Where do I have to go? I say, it's right here. She's right here in my office. She's going to see you. And then I start motivating them of the importance of going in for the initial interview. And I say, just come back and give me some feedback. If you don't like it, let me know. If you like it, let me know. Just go there. And I motivate them to take that first step. And that's all they need. I have not had one person come back to me and say, I don't like it. She's too rough, or
I can't do it, or I don't understand it. Right.
Her goals are too high. They go and she works with each person as an individual. It's a one-on-one. What she's doing is a one-on-one approach, and then the patient come back, and then Nicole will continue that motivational approach. So each part of the team, Dr. Coleman, myself, Nicole, we all are there and we understand that we have to put the motivation in the patient. And if the patient is already motivated, then for us to keep nourishing that motivation so the person accomplish what they want, where they want to be and where they should be.
And I think it's a good time, Nicole. I just want to share something. The other day I went to a lecture up at Scripps, and they had a PhD from Wales, and her whole, I guess her specialty is working on diabetes and obesity. And we had quite a program, and when you get finished with that, you know that people need to be coming to your program before they get diabetes, before they get those diseases. And it seems so simple just to have you help someone, hold their hand, work with Dr. Mencia and the other specialists at his office. It scared the life out of me when I saw, why is someone going to start to take insulin when all they have to do is get their life in order?
Follow a lifestyle program, right. And I agree, it should, with Dr. Mencia, is that with the primary care physician being the one to initiate the motivation, because, you really believe in your doctor and you really, really wanted his opinion, and it's so important. And then once they come to me, we talk about what is involved in that and how they're going to meet their goals, how they're going to lower their insulin, how are they going to lower their blood sugars or their cholesterol naturally, and that it's doable and that it's been proven. And, and the hand-holding approach, I think, is so important, and that's really what I believe in, too. In the initial consult, we do go over a lot, and we go over, everything you need to know. We set out your basic plan, and then with the follow-ups, we really go through the hand-holding approach, what's working for you, what's not working, because I understand how hard it is to follow something. I've had to follow something. I've been gluten-free now for 4 years, and that was a lifestyle change for me. And I really understand, there's a lot that people are confused about, too. And so we take it one session at a time, and within each session, we'll talk about what's working, what's not working, what do you want to focus on this week, what are you ready for? And we're really, at the same time, by motivating them to really come up with their own goals and make it make it their own, is so important.
I want the audience also to understand that we have to be smart consumers. Some people feel you go to the doctor, to your primary care doctor, and that he or she is doing you a favor by seeing you. And somebody is paying for that visit. It might be Medicare, it might be another insurance, but you already pay for that visit by working all your life. And this is something that you deserve. This is nothing that, there's no favor. The doctor is not doing a favor for you. They're doing a service to you. So you have to be a smart consumer. If your doctor is not motivating you, then you can call Nicole, and where we can get a hold of Nicole.
Well, that's right. Thank you. I was just about to say that. That's right. Let me give you a phone number. Now, this is, of course, it's the same place that we've been telling you every single week. It's the Adult and Geriatric Medical Center, but now we have some new people even there. It's wonderful. Get your pencils out. Remember, this is Pencil Talk Radio, and it's 954-489-1345. We'll do that again. It's down in Broward County. It's 954-489-1345, and this is exciting. All you have to do is call, tell the operator, and there's always a friendly operator, that you want to please have a consultation with Nicole, with the dietitian. And, of course, you can always just say that you want to see Dr. Mencia if you want a primary physician. Of course, you know now we have Dr. Coleman, Dr. Stephen Coleman, who is there for hormones. But before the show, I was a little confused myself as to what is the difference in a nutritionist and a dietitian. And, Nicole, I think it's really important that you explain that.
That's a great question. I think a lot of people are confused about that as well. And basically what it is, a registered dietitian has to go through basically pre-med courses in between biochemistry, chemistry, all the labs. And we have to go through an extensive background of science education. And then you go for 1,000 hours of an internship with different settings, community, clinical rotations, management rotations, and then hospital, clinical, management, community. And after those rotations, along with the coursework that you're doing, you sit for an exam, a registration exam, just like the bar exam or just like, a nursing exam for an RN. And it's an extensive exam, and then you become registered, and you're able to practice anywhere in the country. By law, you're able to practice and give advice for nutrition. But the problem is a lot of people out there, as we know, are giving nutrition advice anywhere from your trainer at the gym to somebody that's calling themselves a nutritionist or a holistic educator. And while that's all fine and good, and they may give good advice or not, so you have to be very careful.
The consumer needs to distinguish.
They need to know that they might not have the science background. They might not know exactly how this medication is working in your body and how their advice may harm you instead of help you. So I think that's really important to distinguish.
And the nutritionists, because they don't have the background training that you have, they cannot build insurance.
And they can't, exactly. And that's just key for so many people because, for an out-of-pocket service, it can be pricey. And so the wonderful thing about today's day and age is there's so many different insurances hopping on board with preventative medicine and now covering obesity, which is a wonderful
thing. Because they're listening to the show.
That's right.
Yes. Yes, well, but they're listening to you, and it is great. But I think what you're saying is so important that we've even talked about this, that you can go into a health food store and there's a consultant there, and they think that they're a nutritionist.
Right.
That's right. And
there might be a nutritionist, but it's not a registered.
So we haven't known the difference. But now what you want to do is definitely have this with a dietitian. And dietitians is really now with a medical. It's like a medical degree in a sense, and it's very important because as you said very smartly, Nicole, and Dr. Mencia is famous for this. With medication, he wants to know everything about your medication before anything's happening. Right. And so now you've got Dr. Mencia, being the orchestra leader, and you're getting a very fine orchestra.
Oh, the best.
You are.
Yes.
I mean, you have really been developing this, and I'm very thrilled about this.
And also, too, you bring up a great point because if they go into like a health food store and go in and, supplements, which is a whole other topic, aren't regulated by the FDA. So you don't really know what you're getting. You don't know whether the fish oil has lead or mercury in it or PCBs or PBBs. So you don't know if it's 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams. There's no labeling laws for supplements. So it's important to go to a physician or a licensed healthcare professional and get pharmaceutical-based, pharmaceutical-grade supplements. Not that they're pharmaceuticals per se, but that they're pure, they're clean, and they have the contents what the label shows.
I have one of my patients from the radio show that came to see me, and she was seeing a nutritionist who told her to take this line of fish oil. So I usually tell my patient, bring all the supplement you are taking. I don't want a list. I want to see the actual bottle of what you're taking. And I guess the amount of money she was making out of selling this nutritional supplement line was good for the nutritionist, but not for the patient. So I told the patient, this is junk. You should not be taking that. I said, no, my nutritionist told me this is the best. So I turned the bottle around. I say, this is loaded with omega-6. This is junk omega. This is really cheap. You buy this for 10 pills for a penny. You need omega-3 and omega-9. This is no good for you.
Right, and a lot of people are so confused about the omega.
I called the nutritionist and I said, I'm Dr. Mencia, this is my patient, and you have, suggested this line of supplement, and I want to know why, so I can understand your thought. He said, it's one of the best products out there. It's the only one I have here in my office. It's real. And I said, well, have you noticed that it has omega-6? And she said, well, what's the difference? And
no. Was she a registered dietitian?
No, she was just a nutritionist. She was a
nutritionist.
She went and did an exercise program, and she was, coaching people, and then she did the course, like you said, and she became, quote unquote, a nutritionist. So she was, my patient was paying basically out of pocket to see this lady. And I didn't want to interfere, but I say, if it's me, I would try to get myself somebody else that know what they're doing.
And that's so important because there is a lot, and there are a lot of professionals out there that, a lot of the education is done outside of the classroom once you become a registered dietitian. I mean, I didn't learn, per se, a lot of this in school. I went to multiple seminars and multiple, continuing education programs in order to gain the knowledge base that I have today.
And so that's, with her husband's permission, that's how I felt in love with Nicole. Because she's not a person that did her training and just, got stopped there. She's always doing other things, other training.
Well, Nicole, I think you, of course, you're very smart, and it's apparent that you understand who you're with. But Dr. Mencia is one of the most special physicians probably in the world, because what other physician would understand about supplements, would understand all the things he does? And he can take a very complicated subject. I mean, he did this with Parkinson's and so many of the other subjects. And he makes it like you're in your kitchen, and he makes it with your pots and pans. I mean, you understand everything he says. So you're in for a great ride. I have to tell you, and you probably know it already.
I know it already. But from the moment we met,
and of course, we're getting very close to getting this television show ready for ourselves, and I can see you're coming on the show sometime with all your stuff, and we're going to show it.
Oh, yeah, that would be
great. We might even want to have every show, maybe just a little piece of something to do with
health tip for the day.
And actually, because I think people are all searching. They're searching for what you're talking about.
And for valid information.
This program that you now have at the Adult and Geriatric Center, where someone can come, they can lose weight under the jurisdiction of a medical, and a physician, and then have people like you and all. I don't know of another place other than going to a big institute somewhere out in California or something that they canyon. Maybe we're going to have to do a spa.
And the beautiful of the program is that, because I did study Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic, is that we are not segregated. We are all integrated. So when the person see Nicole or Steve Coleman or myself, we all communicate. Patient see the psychologist. If the psychologist have something that she want to look into the chart, everything is available right there. And there are not too many, there are not a lot of nutritionists doing blood tests. There's not a lot of dietitians that have access not only to the doctor, but to a full lab that Nicole has right in the premises, where she can run any test and they give you the result the same day. We can help the patient, a lot faster than when we are all segregated. And the communication is much better when we are all integrated with the patient as the main focus of our practice.
Oh, I'm sorry. And they also see results a lot faster, because if they're going through, say, the first line therapy program and they're implementing all these changes 12 weeks later, they go and run their lipid levels and their parameters and all the different hemoglobin A1C, and they see all of these changes. And
but you know something, Nicole? One of the reasons a lot of people like what we are doing is that patients tell me they get frustrated when they see you and they go outside to another doctor, and the doctor say, I don't believe in that test. I shouldn't do that test. I don't believe in this. And then the doctor, instead of motivating, like we were saying before, start discouraging you. And, you know, there's only so much as an MD and a professor at different university. I cannot do what Nicole is doing. You know, I need her help so that we can help the patient. And we need doctors to be humble enough to understand where your limitation is.
Very true.
I would say about psychologists, too, because I'll bet there are instances where you're going to give the person everything they need, but somehow they just can't get it. But then you would know that. Why isn't it working? And you can bring the psychologist in, because no matter how much they like you, Dr. Mencia, and how much they want to please you and follow your orders, there may be a psychological problem. And so no matter how good you all are, you need another professional to say, well, let's get back to...
You know something? I before I became an MD, I'm a psychologist by training. And there is no way I can sit down and do what Dr. Gillette is doing. She spent a whole hour with the patient, basically dedicated as a psychologist. I can counsel. Yesterday I had one of my patients. She's from Haiti, and they beat her mother and her father. They went in with machine gun. They stole her house. It was horrible. So I started counseling the patient, and it just so happened that God put my next patient, who is a preacher. And I said, why don't you come in? I need you to help me counsel this person. And then Dr. Gillette came in, and then, you know, so we heard, but to me, the real help there is, well, of course, you know, somebody like a preacher that had been training, counseling this kind of trauma, and the psychologist. When the person comes, if you make an appointment with Nicole, she's going to give you an entire 60 minutes, basically, devoted to you to get to understand who you are. Not only what you are eating, but who you are. And then after that, then she give you smaller segments. But when a provider can give you that much time, you know that you're going to come out of there being a winner.
I'm just thrilled with this. You know, I know people listening, and the way to make that appointment is 954-489-1345, 954-489-1345. And the Adult and Geriatric Medical Center is easy to get to. It's on East Commercial Boulevard. It's just a little bit west of Holy Cross Hospital. And all you have to do is make that phone call, and most insurances are accepted. Please don't allow yourself to get disease by not, taking care of yourself. You know, when you first came in, I was thinking about that. You call it a first-line therapy program, and what does that really? You probably shared that, but say that again. What would someone expect to get from that?
It's basically a lifestyle medicine program, and in my mind, of course, as a nutritionist, I believe that the foundation of health really lies in what we're eating. I mean, we are what we eat. It's not a saying for no reason. It's a saying because it's true, and I think we've forgotten that as a population, and we've become so inundated with the outside stimulation, with TV, and with being in a hurry, and with, family, and we just grab the easiest, quickest thing, and then also letting food overtake our emotions, which is huge, the emotional eating. So that's something that it's basically the foundation for your healthy lifestyle is first-line therapy, which includes diet, medical food, supplements, exercise.
Well, I'm going to stop you now on exercise. What are you going to be able to do? Of course, we know we have this international taekwondo hero here, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do about exercise?
Well, what we do is, because it's in the initial visit, because it's so involved, we take your body impedance analysis composition, which tells us everything, and that takes a while to go over your your food plan, and explaining everything about that goes over some time. So we basically take, what are you willing to start with? Because a lot of people have been inactive for so long. I start with where they're at, no matter what, So if they're inactive, we take, okay, can you go for 3 days a week for a 30-minute walk? And it doesn't have to be all at the same time. It could be 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. The research shows that as long as you're active for a certain amount of time a day, that's beneficial to your body.
It's going to add up. Absolutely.
Ta-da! I got my pedometer. Right. I'm already on 360 since I've gotten up this morning, right?
10,000's the goal.
10,000. That's what they said. 10,000. In fact, they showed at the Scripps Research Institute, they showed about the caveman, and he had to go for his food, and he was this thin little guy. Then they showed the next one who, he wasn't running after the bears and all, but then the last one was this guy sitting at his computer, with his big gut, and you could see he's not doing anything, right? And that's what's happened. Right. So what you're saying is you at least will start them at what they can do, so you're not doing the exercise for them, you're giving them suggestions.
That's right.
I love this.
Something that they could start with, and then, where it's not like an hour.
We give them a little regimen so that they can work. And, a lot of times, sometimes we get people that come in and they say, I am completely inactive. Where should I start? Should I start exercising and then doing a diet? And I say, no, forget about exercise. Let's get you into a diet, because isn't it true, Nicole, that sometimes there are certain food that we can eat that can make you less active?
That's so true. I mean, because we are what we eat, if we're eating things that are loaded with sugar and refined carbohydrates, we're going to get on the vicious.
We want to go in a siesta.
And we just want to go have a siesta and relax and go to sleep, and then we wake up craving more sugar. So it's a vicious roller coaster.
Right.
And so it's important to, when we start eating the right foods, it's so correct.
Then your body is going to feel like, hey, I'm ready to exercise.
And
you
the
have
small
to
changes, right? And as you start to improve and you start to conquer these small changes, you start to get more motivated to conquer more changes. So
you can get a hold of Nicole, 954.
I'm so overwhelmed with this. This is the best thing that's happened.
1345. When you come, if you are sick, if you develop a cold or something like that, you need to see me. You can come in as a walk-in patient. If you're going to see Nicole, please make an appointment. She's going to give you so much time that you will be amazed. You will come out of information that, you're going to come out of there a different person.
You will. I can see it. I mean, when I first started doing this with you, Dr. Mencia, it was
you and I.
No, wait a minute. It was you and, of course, Dr. Rosemary, and I met a few of your other, a couple. Yeah, I met a couple. But over the last year, you are getting, we're going to call it the Mencia Ranch. We had the Canyon Ranch, we're now Mencia Ranch. I love that. I think that's what we have. Of course, you have it out at your home.
Right.
But I think that's what we're doing here. Now we just have to have a place with a spa and
massage.
We're getting ready here. I'm well, actually, he has the most wonderful building next door that's sitting vacant. And I think there's something in that I don't know what's happening. I think we're waiting.
God to enlighten me and tell me what to do with that building.
For it. Well, anyway, it's been wonderful meeting you, Nicole.
Thank you.
I look forward a lot more of this.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Dr. Mencia, as usual, you just brighten up all of our days, our lives, and we are so fortunate to have you working with us.
Star is born.
And so we'll see you back here. As a matter of fact, also remember, Dr. Rosemary will be on this afternoon at 4:30 on WNN at 1470 AM on your dial, and she will be giving you the best information on dentistry. As a matter of fact, we have a little bit of an interesting surprise for you on that show this time, so please be sure. That's right. We have Mike coming on, who's right there, her assistant, and so and
Mike is a fountain of information.
Yes, he is, and I think that that's the whole organization. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we're going to go to our author, who is this wonderful woman calling in from Connecticut. Her book is Mother-in-Law, Daughter-in-Law Dilemma: Enlightenment and